Sheriff, I'm going to change gears a little bit and talk about one of our mutual favorite topics, which is sports. So I read this last night in The Athletic. I read the detailed report of Cleveland pitchers, Clarke, their closer, and Ortiz. And Sheriff, I couldn't believe what I was reading.
Why not?
Well, because The Athletic they had texts. I mean, these guys are going to jail. I mean, they're going to prison. It's just not getting banned like Pete Rose or that the guy was the referee. These guys are going to jail. I mean, the text messages. I mean, these guys. You take Clase, guy had a 0.08 ERA. He's the best closer in the country for Cleveland. Best closer. Couldn't hit the guy, right? 90 bajillion saves. He got $20 million. He was about to re-sign for another $18 million over some period of time. So that's $38 million. The guy's a millionaire. And he's throwing pitches for like $2,000, $5,000 he was getting. They made $500,000. They paid both Ortiz and Clase something like 20 or 30,000, like 10% of what they made. It was incredible. I mean, how do you make that kind of money and then put yourself in this position? I read that. I had to read it again. And then MLB comes out and makes a stink finally that they're like worthless, totally worthless. And then the betting houses say, oh, well, now we're going to max pitch bets to $200. I mean, this has got to be the biggest scam. This is bigger than the Black Sox. I mean, what is the deal here? And how deep is this? How deep is this?
Well, we're about to find out because this isn't going to be the end of it.
Right.
John, you know that. And ever since they legalized gambling on this mass scale, and I'm not saying they shouldn't have, and I'm not saying that they should reverse it. I'm saying this is an inevitable byproduct that at some point it's going to reach the athletes, for heaven's sake, the athletes themselves, not just a fan betting on the games. It's human nature. These guys are highly competitive. So when you look, you can't say, well, hey, they make $20 million a year. What is it? They're only betting for, or they're throwing pitches for $2,000. These are competitive individuals that they bet and gamble on everything. And I don't mean with money, but like you hear about these in the clubhouse and in the locker rooms, these poker games between the players, high stakes. Michael Jordan used to be on the golf course, and with the group he was with, they'd be betting, per hole like $50,000. And you say, well, they don't need the money. For them, it's not about the money. It's their competitive nature, and they just want to win, for heaven's sakes. And so anything that they can find that they can gamble on, they will gamble on. That's what's happening here, which is why I said this isn't going to be the end of it. You would have thought that, there's some college players that got busted a couple of years ago. There was some NFL players that got busted for making bets in the clubhouse, and they were suspended for a year. You'd think the players would go, oh, man, they're checking text messages and this. They're reckless. They don't care. They don't think they're ever going to find me. They're not going to come for my text messages. And, it's professional sports. They got a tiger by the tail here because at some point, because this is not going to be the last time you hear about some player involved in throwing whatever, betting on, being involved in some of these prop bets and whatnot. It's just a matter of time before the fans lose faith in the integrity of this stuff, and they'll stop watching, and a lot of them will stop betting because they're going to know.
That's the problem. That you just nailed it. The level of confidence, like I don't bet the NBA, right? Never have. I just don't. But now after the scandal, like I'm not going to touch it. I mean, I know I don't know who's not playing or what bet they made. I'm not going to bet it, and I don't bet a lot of money, 10, 20, $30. $50 is big for me, but I'm not going to bet the NBA because I don't know who's tanking, who's sitting out. I bet hockey because hockey, you can't throw a hockey game. I mean, that's really hard to do because you're only playing, a third of the game or half. So I bet hockey.
You know what, John? They'll find out a way. They'll figure out a way how to. But just think about if you were gambling or betting on a particular game that you didn't know was rigged. I mean, hell, man, you got swindled, and there should be a class action lawsuit by these fans who who bet on these particular games in good faith, and the game was rigged. They got some money coming back from that.
I agree with that.
That's why I said
it should be a class action suit.
I don't bet.
That's going to shut this whole thing down. I mean, it's just, but how do you make $20 million and you're risking your freedom for $2,000? Like, who the hell does that?
It's called reckless. People do reckless things all the time, not just in gambling. They do reckless things. People who, for instance, will use drugs. And, how about athletes who will use PEDs knowing they test for it, but they do it anyway? Reckless. It's reckless behavior. You need to have a behavioral scientist come on to kind of explain the behavior end of this, but that's what it is these are high risk guys been taking risks all their lives. Why should they stop just because they're in the big leagues or the NBA or the NFL? And that's why I use the PED, performance enhancing drugs. They know they're tested, but some of them will do it anyway.
Incredible. I really thought, I understand like the basketball thing and I kind of, the high stakes games and all that. But I mean, when you're throwing pitches, I mean, you read that report in The Athletic. I mean, the guy, Clarke, first of all, you're not supposed to have a phone in the ballpark, right? It's supposed to be in the clubhouse, right? That is a steadfast rule. No phones come out of the club. No phones in the dugout. I'm talking about cell phones, not the phone that goes from the dugout to the pen to ask if somebody's hot or not. I mean, no cell phones outside of the clubhouse. You can bring them in the clubhouse, but as soon as you exit that clubhouse, no cell phones in the bullpen. Well, this guy puts his iPhone in his pocket or whatever he's got, and he's calling his handlers from the bullpen in between before they call on him to warm up. He calls them up. He says, "I'm going in a couple of minutes in the 8th inning." And then they said, "Are you set?" He says, "Yeah." And then he throws a ball, and they're betting balls mile an hour. So I mean, catcher.
These prop bets, man.
Like they showed the video, right?
Yeah.
So they bet a ball and under 97 miles an hour gets in the game. Right? It's right in the video. Catcher calls a fastball, I assume. Well, fastball is going to go 98, 99. It's going to go 97. He shakes it off. You see him shaking it off. I assume he calls a fastball, shakes it off, and then he spikes a slider at 92 miles an hour in the dirt, and they win both bets. I mean, this is like, what?
Yeah, and the leagues, you know what? Blame the leagues too, because they allow gambling. They'll put it in their rules. You can gamble on anything but our sport. So in other words, if you play in the NBA, you can bet in the NFL and you can bet on, Major League Baseball, but you can't bet on the NBA. But that's a slippery slope, John. They should just have a policy. Look, you're a professional athlete, no gambling. It's like other professions where you can't do what everybody else does just because it's legal. For instance, we don't allow cops and airline pilots to smoke dope. I don't care that it's legal in some states. Right. There are certain professions where they say it's not compatible with what we do. And so that's why the league should just say no gambling, none, not on anything, not on tiddlywinks, not on in your golf game, your foursome. No gambling. That it's got to be a red line. And
if you want to gamble, don't play in Major League Baseball. Don't play in the NBA. Don't play in the NHL.
Do what everybody else
don't play in the NFL. Don't play in Major League Soccer. Just don't play. Correct. I mean, the NCAA passed a rule that said, okay, college athletes who are getting paid, by the way, now, I know that from experience, college athletes getting paid now can now bet on any sport except their sport. So
Well,
wait a minute.
yeah, and here's the
You
thing.
got to be kidding me.
Here's the thing too, John, about college athletics. The guys and the women who aren't getting the big NIL deals, they're susceptible to this gambling because they can go to these bookies and give them inside information. Hey, our starting forward, he's not feeling well right now, and blah blah blah, and he's got a slightly pulled whatever, and start giving these gamblers information for money because they're not getting the big NIL money, and so they want to get some of theirs, and so this
Not good, man.
inside information. This is a mess, John.
It's not good. It is
Mess.
Look, I'm pro gambling. Everybody knows that. This is a mess. And Manfred's an idiot. Okay, he's the worst commissioner in the history of baseball. He's a complete jackass. Instead of dealing with the stuff, he's worried about like magic hitters or some asinine, stupid thing, or reducing the pitch clock to 18 seconds. Like, shut up. You're an idiot. I hate this guy. He's destroying the game. He should be focused on this like a laser beam. I mean, the inside information with the NAL, tell her, hold the music a second. This is a big deal. You're right. I mean, you take college basketball. You're right. You call up, you say, look, I room with a guy. He's sick.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
all you got to say. He's my roommate.
Yep.
On the road or at the like my son's got 4 roommates in the baseball housing. He's got 4 guys there. All of these guys have got roommates, whether it's basketball or baseball or football. Somebody'd say that quarterback hurt his foot. He's hobbling around. I don't think he's going to get through the second quarter. You tell that to somebody, you win the bet, you give him $10,000. I mean, you can't have this. I don't know how to stop it. There's no way to stop it. No way to stop it. It's really bad.
Well, if that's the case, if there's no way to stop it in these sports, eventually, it isn't going to happen next year or 2 years from now, but eventually it's going to ruin itself.
Yeah, it's going to ruin itself.
Yep.
Yeah. This, I encourage everybody out there, if you're not an athletics fan, follow sports, I get it. But this baseball scandal with these 2 pitchers in Cleveland, Ortiz, a starter, and Clase, their all-star, double, triple all-star closer. Guy was unhittable.
Yeah. And I thought the NBA,
they're throwing pitches for a couple $1,000s.
the
It's
NBA was
incredible.
hilarious with the X-ray glasses at the poker games, and I laughed at that stuff, man. That's like stuff made out of a movie script, for heaven's sakes.
Oh my God. I mean, it's too much. Although I do have to say that I was supposed to go to bed. So I went to bed, but I couldn't stop watching. I was peeking on my phone. That game last night was a great game. I ended up having the loser, but it's one of those games where I didn't care that I lost my $40 on the Packers. The game was that great, like it was my entertainment. And even though I was in bed, and Anna's like, go to bed. You got to get up early. You got to get your sleep. I'm like, damn, it's, scoreless at the half.
10-7 game is not a great game, John.
See, I thought it was a great game. I love games like that. It's defense. It's like my father always said, son, defense wins championships.
Is it really good defense, or is it inept offense?
I thought it was a great game. I loved it. The 2 turnovers for the Packers nailed them. And even when they scored the touchdown, and Ann was like, I had to sneak in on my phone because Ann gets mad at me if I step late. By sneaking on my phone, and Packers score, make it 10-7. Then they get the ball back. And it's like, holy crap, they're going to get on the field and score, and then they fumble.
Yeah, offense, inept offense. That's not great defense.
Come on. I love that. I'll take those games all day long. Kind of like although the Denver game was horrible. What was that? 5-3 or something? It was like a baseball score. Anyway, Sheriff, always good to have you on, sir. This gambling thing, man. This is bad news. I just can't believe you call a guy up and say, I'm going to throw a ball. And then he goes to his residence and he gives him money. I mean, there's like cameras around. I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
You'll
Unfriggin'
never
believable.
find these athletes on a Mensa list. Okay.
And they banned
I
Pete
like
Rose, bless
highly
his heart.
intelligent people.
They banned Pete
Yeah,
Rose. I know he was, not a nice guy. I get that, but
I like Pete Rose.
he was an extraordinary ball player. They banned him for at least he bet on his own team to win.
For life, they banned him.
At least like he called the bookmaker up. He says, I like my team. And he bet him like they were telling me he bet his team like every game the same amount of money. So it's not like, one game he bet 1,000, one game he bet 50, and like 50, I'm going to bet the other team. No, he bet, what was it, $250 on every game.
Yeah.
Oh, 160 games. He bet him every night because he thought he was going to win every day. And he gets banned for life. I'll take him in a heartbeat. At least he's out there trying to win.
Yeah, right. That looks like child's play now.
It really does. Oh, Sheriff, it's always good to have you on. I got to get to John Eastman and go back to politics. Unfortunately, John Eastman's coming up, but I'm going to take a break and I'll be right back. Sheriff, thanks for being with us. Follow Sheriff Clarke, americasheriff.com. I'll be right back.